Okay, this is just a quick tutorial on how to use blueletterbible.org. This helps you see what additional understanding we can gain from looking at words in their original language, the Bible in its original language. Let's take a look at an example. So the New Testament is written in Greek, and I'm reading along. I don't read Greek, but as I'm reading the English, I see here this phrase, there was no room for them in the inn. I'm kind of curious. I'm wondering, like, I've heard about the innkeeper's wife, like, what's happening at the inn here? And so if I click this Luke 27 right here, that takes me to what's called the interlinear. And I can see the English here on the left, and then it tells me the Greek on the right, or in this middle column here. So there is no room for them in the inn. This is the Greek word that's translated as the inn. So if I click on it here, it's going to give me a definition and show me where else that word is used in the New Testament. So I see here one definition is an inn or a lodging place, an eating room, a dining room. And the King James Version translates this Greek word as inn one time, but also note two different times it translates it as guest chamber. So if I scroll down here, you can see the three different times this Greek word is used. And even like here, back to back in Luke, the same word is translated differently as inn or guest chamber. And that might have a different meaning. So instead of having in my mind the image of Mary and Joseph trying to find a vacant room at the Motel 6, they maybe are trying to stay with extended family members, but there's no room in the guest chamber. The guest rooms are all filled because so many people have been visiting. There's no private area for them to meet. So that's one example. Let's just try another one. So I can go up here to Matthew chapter 5, and I'm doing examples from the New Testament, but this would work just as well with the Hebrew Bible or the Old Testament, where you could see the Hebrew underlying roots. So this is a common one that you've probably heard of. Matthew 5:48, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Some people will get really concerned, like, wow, I have to be perfect without flaw. There's no way I can do that. So I want to learn more about what does this Greek word that is underlying perfect mean. So I come to perfect, there's the Greek word, can click on it and get a definition, brought to its end, finished, complete, of full age, mature. And so I could do some more exploration down here of these other times the word perfect appears, and find out that it doesn't mean without flaw or no errors at all, but is talking about a growth and a development. Um, Maybe we can look at just one other place where this might be interesting. Let's go to Mark chapter 10. So let's say that we're reading along Mark chapter 10, Jesus blessing the children, and they brought young children to him. They would that he should touch them, and his disciples rebuked those that brought them. But when Jesus saw it, meaning when Jesus saw the disciples rebuking the people that said, bless the little children, Jesus was much displeased and said unto them, suffer the little children to come unto me. So that makes me wonder, much displeased, that's kind of an unusual phrase in English. What does that mean? So we look at this phrase here, he was much displeased, to see what that is translated in. To have indignation, with indignation, to be sore displeased. So that's kind of helps me see the intense emotion the Savior's feeling. And in fact, this is sort of interesting. If we were to skim through all of these verses, we'd find that this verse, Mark 10:14, is the only time Jesus is described as feeling this way. You can see in Matthew 26 or Mark 10, sometimes the disciples or others feel this way. But it's only when Jesus saw people preventing little children from being blessed that he was filled with this indignation, that this word is used to describe him. And that's kind of a cool insight. Well, I know I said that was the last one, but let's just do one more for fun. And this might be a little more intricate than you want to do, but it's still kind of interesting. So if you're reading Mark 14, Christ is in Gethsemane, all the disciples flee, and then there's this unique detail that only Mark brings up. And there followed him a certain young man, having a linen cloth cast about his naked body, and the young men laid hold on him. So if we were to go here and look at this, and let's just say we're kind of curious about this story. And so we want to look up young man. What is this young man that is being talked about here? And if we scroll down to see where is it used in Mark, it's used twice in this verse. But then notice in Mark 16:5, the only other time we see this verse, this Greek word is in Mark 16:5. And entering into the sepulchre, they saw a young man. And there's a couple of other textual similarities between the young man who flees naked and then the young man who's clothed in a long white garment at the tomb. And it's a little bit speculative, but it seems like maybe Mark is juxtaposing this young man, showing how a follower of Jesus runs away in shame and then is naked. But Jesus, through his atonement, now is giving new hope and opportunity. Now this young man is clothed in a long white robe, an exalted robe. That may or may not be exactly what Mark is intending, but the fact that I can now see that this underlying Greek word is only used in these two verses might help me find an interesting connection. So that's a little bit about the Blue Letter Bible. Not every verse you read is going to have an interesting connection if you understand the Hebrew or Greek that underlines it, but a lot will. And I hope you'll have fun exploring and using this tool.